up in the sky. Look, it's captivating. It's energizing. It's Eliances Heroes. Eliances is the destination for entrepreneurs, investors, CEOs, inventors, leaders, celebrities, and startups, where our heroes in business align. Now, here's your host flying in, David Kogan, founder of Eliances.
Best job ever, right? That's interviewing our heroes where we learn so much from them. I never want these days to go away. Let me tell you who we've got coming up later on the show. We've got Dr. Mamiko, internationally recognized love relationship star. She was on the Laura Berman Show, which is the Oprah production. And later on in the show, too, we're going to have Michael Bankston, Arizona Cardinals NFL football player. Wait till you hear the exciting things of what he's going to be announcing today. But let's go ahead and let's get started with our first hero. And by the way, thank you for the feedback we continue to get from having Tom Dreesen on. He's the one that opened 14 years for Frank Sinatra. Make sure you go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances, where you can hear those interviews. Well, this morning, Peter Thomas, he is the chairman and CEO of Thomas Pride International, and you can reach him at thomaspride.com. He's a leader in entrepreneurship, development, and alternative asset investing in the United States and Canada. Now, Peter, tell me a little bit more about the investments that Thomas Pride gets involved with and how we can learn more.
Well, I guess primarily my investment expertise is real estate, and I've been in real estate for the past 40, 50 years. Started off with getting very lucky and buying the Canadian rights for Century 21 Real Estate, the franchise company, which got me involved in franchising, and I've never really got out of it. I've been franchising consistently through that. But along with that, I learned how to finance and develop smaller real estate projects, shopping centers, small shopping centers, and multifamily housing and land development. So I guess as the years rolled on, you get more expertise, and I wound up building the Four Seasons Hotel, buying the land and building the hotel here in Scottsdale.
Which is, again, I mean, truly incredible. Let's talk a little bit more about franchising. I mean, you were the founder of the Century 21 in Canada.
Correct.
And you bought the entire rights to the country?
Exactly.
That's huge. How do you know, though, at the time when there's an opportunity there to be able to seize on it? Because, you know, this is something that wasn't done before in Canada.
And not only I didn't know, a lot of it is being in the right place in the right time, but when I asked for advice on buying that one, I'll never forget, because I went around asking my partner, my investment partners, they all passed on it. I, of course, asked my lawyer. He thought it was the silliest thing you ever heard. Who's going to wear gold jackets? And it really went on and on and on. And finally, I had to just make the decision myself, and I just couldn't see it not working. I thought it was timing. And I find, David, primarily a business is people, communication, timing, and finance. If you've got the right people, and if you communicate well with those people, and the timing is right, then the money usually comes together, I found, for me. So it's really all about, for me, and we'll get on to that a bit later, but it's all about the people, who you invest with, who you play with.
And you've also, too, have gotten involved with other franchises. In fact, you also own the franchise for the company Dogtopia.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I sold Century 21, that franchise company, and I kind of miss being in that space, actually. And I just made a decision. My wife and I, we had a tragedy. I lost my son. And it took me quite a while to recover from that. When I came back into business, we moved over to Switzerland and stayed there for about 7 years. And when I came back into business again, I thought I'd look into the franchise space. And as I looked into it, I decided I didn't want to get into food. It's full. There's lots going on in the food business. So I found the services business was pretty exciting. And then I got into the actual pet space, doggy daycare. And it was crazy. It looked like the old hockey stick you see, just looks like it's going to go straight up. But that was about 5 years ago. And gosh, we bought the rights 5 years ago, and it's just grown to it's a multi-million-dollar business now all across the United States and Canada.
Absolutely incredible. And you're listening to me, David Kogan, host of the Eliances Hero Show. Go to Eliances.com. That's Eliances.com, the only place where entrepreneurs align. And we have Peter Thomas, the chairman and CEO of Thomas Pride International, who could be reached at thomaspride.com. Now, Peter, you're also an incredible author of the book Be Great.
Right.
And I got to tell you, I don't read books. However, I've begun to read your book. I'm more than halfway in, and I cannot turn it down. I cannot put it down. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. So I want to start off with something. 86,400 seconds that happen in a day.
And you've got your every day, every second that goes by is critically important time. But David, that book primarily is the essence of a formula that I've learned primarily living the life that I've lived and going through some tragedy that I went through, losing my son. And every one of us, I learned, go through tragedy at some point in time. But how do you deal with that tragedy? And the book tells a lot about that. And one simple part is, if you look at your life like the old phonograph record you used to hear about, you put it on a board and you put a needle in it, it plays a record. Our lives are like that, and we play this record. Our whole life is on that record, and sometimes there's scratches on that record. And as you live your life, all of us have scratches. And when you go back to those scratches, you're bound to get hurt. And the tragedies that we have, sickness, deaths, all those type of things, are in our lives. And we've all got to learn, it's just like that record, that scratch in the record, to get past that. A lot of times we go to that and we live in that tragedy. And you cannot live in the tragedy because life is what happens between those.
Right, because in fact, you talked about the tragedy of what happened with your son.
Correct.
But many people at that point would just really kind of give up.
Right.
But what changed for you to say...
I did sort of for a bit too, Like it was such a, like again, tragedies for everybody are huge. And you've got to get your mindset that life goes on for everybody else and you have to be strong for everybody else. That's primarily what I did. And as I got through it, I realized, and what this book was about how, when you get past it, how do you live your life? What are some rules? And the formula, for example, I live my life in alignment with my values. And we have a program called Life Pilot that the book explains. But what you got to do is understand that you have to live your life in alignment with your values. Understand, I ask everyone here listening here, understand what your values are. What are they? Health, freedom, happiness, integrity, relationships, honesty, whatever they may be. But you write them down, and then from that point on, when you understand what your values are, you live your life in alignment with those. So when something comes on, for example, I'll just pick anything, but let's say you chose that health was big for you, let's say. So you decided, I'm going to be healthy. And some guy phones you up and said, hey, Peter, let's go and get drunk tonight. Well, you wouldn't make a moral decision because that maybe getting drunk's a lot of fun. But you make a health decision and say, I'll go with you and I'll have fun with you, but I'm not going to get drunk tonight because I've chosen health as a value. Or if freedom was a value, you make a choice, well, I won't do anything that will tie me up to stop me from doing what I want to do with the rest of my life. So it's learning, and the book explains quite easily how you can live your life like that. And there's pillars in your life, pillars like inspiration, like the tricks that successful people use, the ability to be able to focus and tell you about what does focus mean?
And again, very important. So the name of the book, again, is Be Great, and the author is Peter Thomas, founder of Century 21 Canada and Life Pilot. So we've got a little less than a minute left, Peter.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, if you were giving a speech to sixth graders, okay, sixth graders, just about in general living life to its fullest, because at that time, I think you're always still trying to feel your way through life, really, no matter at any age. But what are one or two secrets that you would provide to them to be able to really live life to its fullest, and most importantly, take use of those 86,400 seconds that happen in a day?
Yeah. There's three letters to the most important word. I think I tell a sixth grader, or I tell a 12th grader, or an 88-year-old person, and that is fun. Do what you love to do, and make sure you have fun doing what you're doing. And you'll find that if you live your life having fun doing the things that you do, you'll have a wonderful, wonderful life.
Well, absolutely incredible. Well, Peter, be great. You are great. You've seen amazing success and continue to build. You're a hero. Peter Thomas, Thomas Pride International. Make sure you go to thomaspride.com. This is David Kogan with Eliances, and when we return, the famous Dr. Mimiko, famous love doctor. David Kogan with Eliances.